So there are different styles of lettering that you can use in a single graphic to help draw people's attention to different areas of your canvas, right? So for titles and headings, I love to do bubble letters, right? I like making mine really bubbly, right? So we have B, U, and those are some quick bubble letters. For headings, I might use a different pen, right? Maybe I'll do like a thicker brush. And then for body text, I try to keep it very simple. And your body text is your everyday text, right? It's not big enough to be a heading or a title, but you want to make sure that people are seeing it. So for a body text, I might use like a regular Sharpie or a regular sized Neuland. Practice, practice, practice your alphabet. The way that I wrote before I started doing graphics is completely different from the way that I write now. Now in my regular writing, whether I'm doing graphics or not, I now use all capital letters because it's what people can read better and it's more legible. Cursive is not your friend. The only time that I will use cursive when doing graphics is when I'm doing something more artistic, but that is not the norm for me, right? The point is for people to be able to read this. And while swoopy letters are beautiful and creative and fun, if no one can read your writing, what are any of us doing here? Right? So the best thing to do would, again, Pinterest, Google, those are your friends. You can look up lettering examples. You can look on Google for free lettering practice sheets for you to print out. There are so many resources online that you can get that are at your disposal, right? I practice something every day. And I will say practice looks different on an iPad versus practicing on paper. The other thing that I would suggest doing is going on YouTube and finding a quick 3 to 5 minute video and listening for the key points of that video. I find TED Talks are some of the best to do this with because they kind of lend themselves to gathering takeaways and content like that. I've had a lot of luck doing drills and practicing just by listening to old TED Talks and finding a couple main key themes and doing a doodle for each of them. But that's how you build up your skill set. And it gets easier over time. I love thought bubbles and comment bubbles, right? You can add a lot of pizzazzle to those to make them come alive, right? So let's pick a fun color. I'm going to do a thought bubble first. I love drawing thought bubbles. If there were a person right here, imagine this is my very long stick figure, right? I would draw the thought bubble coming out of that person's head. You could also add embellishments to your thought bubbles, that little razzle dazzle to make them come alive. These little embellishment lines, while so simple, do so much for an image. There are also different kinds of thought bubbles. We got circles and squares. colors. And you could also do a thought bubble and a comment bubble together. So the only difference between that, if you're doing a thought bubble or something, would be to add the little comment thing coming out of it. It's not really a thought bubble, but if there's like a wow moment, sometimes I like doing one of these. Wow. Kind of like a comic book.